Welcome, everybody, to Sis Let's Work. I'm Karen Vaughn, and I am talking to a dynamic lady in Indianapolis that is doing her thing. She has found her niche, and she is walking in her purpose. Welcome, Victoria Beatty. She is the founder and chief wellness officer for Be Well Indy, also the founder of the Botanikal Bar and the executive director of Growing Places Indy. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. First and foremost, your background is amazing. A living wall, you have your plants, just amazing.
Thank you. I love greenery in my space, especially during COVID. We have to be at home a lot, so I need the energy to be right. So,
Absolutely. And you're living in your purpose. How did you find your niche?
well, I actually started out to figure out like what I like to do and then what I was good at, So I had a long career working in advertising and working for big brands, but I knew I loved to be creative and I knew I loved to be around people, but I really love to just create things that are not actually available right now. And so I decided, like, okay, what am I good at? I'm good at marketing. I'm good at PR. But what's missing? And actually, what's missing in my own hometown? So I looked at that and realized, like, wellness. People don't look at Indianapolis as a wellness hub. They don't look to us as a space where we're like having a lot of cool gyms or cool wellness events. We don't have like a place where people can go find information around just wellness activities, influencers, events, gyms. So I created Be Well Indy. So that was one of the ideas that I had. And then the Botanikal Bar, there's no Black owned plant shops in Indianapolis at all. And so I love plants and I actually grew up around plants. My mom has a green thumb. I didn't really think that I would ever actually get a green thumb, but then over the years I've developed one just because it just really helps with my stress. And so knowing those things and understanding my market and then knowing what I'm good at. So it's like an intersection between what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about. And it just kind of aligned. And I feel like just recently in the last 2 years, I've kind of found my purpose, which ended up, leading me to be able to find my niche.
Nice, nice. It's having that self-awareness of really tapping into oneself and discovering your innate talent and running with it. Because many times I feel when we discover something we love and we're passionate about and it's like a hobby, but we're really into it, and before really pursuing it, it's like, well, I need to go get like 20 degrees and I
Yeah,
have to build a career off of this first, when it's really your God-given innate talent that flourishes within you. Not saying that education and a degree, I'm not saying that they're not important, but I'm just saying that just living and standing and being confident in your purpose, because you got this, but you don't know you got this yet.
absolutely. Yes. There's a quote that talks about like being more informed helps you be more confident. So just knowing, like, if you want to start a business, Oprah says it, consume yourself with everything about that business. Learn everything you possibly can know about that area of a business, right? So I'm doing all sorts of research about houseplants, about farming. I just consumed myself in the last year. I didn't go back to school, but I did take a few programs at Purdue that were really inexpensive for me to really dig in and to learn about the industry. So you don't need to like go back and get a master's or a PhD, but there's a lot of free resources to help you kind of figure out, is this the right path I'm going on? And then you'll really realize, like, I'm actually good at maybe speaking, public speaking, or maybe I'm good at creative, maybe I'm good at writing, maybe I'm good at just being a visionary. And so you just have to figure out like I'm good at and what I actually like to spend my time doing. And
Mhm.
then understanding what your market is in your industry and then kind of going in that way. And so that was something that always stuck with me when I heard Oprah speak. And she was just like, you just need to like consume yourself. When she was in TV, she's like, I learned everything it was about the industry. So I think being more informed about whatever industry or whatever project or whatever you want to do, being more informed is going to make you feel confident overall.
Yeah, I remember when you were first starting out about almost 2 years ago, we sat on a panel together
Yeah.
at the National Urban League convention that was here. You were a little nervous because it's like your first time speaking about your passion on a panel. You did amazing as always. But,
Thank you.
thinking back to that and launching your first business, what were some of your challenges that you had as a first time business owner?
Yeah, so I always had the entrepreneur spirit. So when I was like 10, 11, I had a cookie business, I had a lemonade stand, I had a hot chocolate stand. I always wanted extra money. Growing up with a single mom, I had other siblings. I always wanted to have my own money so I could be able to buy the things that I needed to buy. So I always was creative of thinking about like, what can I sell? What can I do? So I always had that. But then when I left corporate America and the agency life, I really wanted to create something that was, representing my culture and the things that I enjoyed. And so I really had to figure out like how to build a team and what that's going to cost me. And then the challenges was just kind of like stepping into a new industry that I really didn't know about. I didn't really know how the media company worked. I worked with media companies, but I didn't know how to build one. I didn't know how to sell advertisements. And so all of those things I had to learn. So that was a little challenging. But to be honest, like Google is like literally your best friend. You can Google everything and then you'll be surprised on how much, people are willing to help you. So just reaching out, asking questions, having coffee with somebody. I reached out to a couple people here who have like magazines and who have, websites that are not similar to ours, but they may be focused on food and mine focuses on wellness. And I'm just asking them like, well, how did you get started? What platform? Just asking questions. And people were really helpful in that matter. But I think that there's always going to be challenges because the biggest challenge is believing that you can actually do it and not feeling overwhelmed and saying like, I can't do this, this is going to be too much work. I don't know how to get it done. I don't have the money. And there's a lot of things that you don't need money for. You just need the time to do it. So I think, and also dedicating and being intentional on how I spent my time. So just making sure I set aside time because I do have a 9 to 5, setting aside time for my other businesses to make sure that I was giving them the proper attention so they're able to grow. So there's so many challenges, but people just, I think the number one challenge, I mean, obviously money, that's a big challenge, but, partnering with people, sometimes people love to partner and sometimes they don't. So you just have to keep rolling through the punches and don't give up because some people will give up, in a year and say, this isn't working for me. I'm just going to, and that's happened to me. I've had other businesses. I think it's also important to know when things have run its course and know like, okay, I'm not going to invest any more money in this. This is where I'm going. And maybe I should do it this way instead. So also I think just knowing like when to keep moving forward and when to kind of reevaluate where you're going.
Yeah. And readjust and keep going, you know?
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
don't stop. Keep going. There's something, there's a fire within you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know you work with and discuss and on panels in regards to urban farming and getting out in your garden and just really, taking in your environment. Tell us a little bit about Growing Places Indy.
Yeah, so Growing Places Indy is a local nonprofit. We're downtown Indianapolis. We have 4 urban farms and we grow food for local food pantries. Our business model actually recently changed during the pandemic because we typically grow food for restaurants and then we have programming. So we do nutrition classes and cooking classes. We have one of the largest winter farmers markets in the city that happens every year from November to April.
Okay.
So it's really a really great way for us to engage with the community. So we have programming, we have a CSA program, we have a farm stand. We also partner with the city of Indianapolis, and we have a farm stand at the bus transit center downtown.
Mhm.
So I'm the executive director there. So we do everything from writing grants to doing events and partnering with other community organizations. But in particular, during COVID, we saw that there was a huge need with food, right? There was people were losing their jobs, the grocery stores were overwhelmed, and we just saw how fragile the food system is, not just locally, but just the entire country, right? And so we actually started to grow food and we just started to give it away. We gave it to food pantries, we gave it to people at our food farm stand, and we just sold it at a really low discounted rate. And so moving forward, everything that we grow at the farm is we're going to give 50% of the produce that we actually grow, we're going to give it away to the community. So our business model has changed because we saw with restaurants that restaurants are closing. And just from us as a nonprofit, we're just not sustainable to be able to do that anyway. So we really want to focus on programming and really being an asset and a resource to the community. So we have a new program called Plant It Forward. So people can apply to get gardening resources, starts, seeds, tools, and it's all for free. We'll also have
Nice.
a website where they'll be able to have resources and workshops on how to even start your own garden. That'll be
Mhm.
for free too. We also have a new program called Grow Getters. And it's a year program, and we're asking people who want to actually start their own farm as a business. You can come through our program. We'll give you hands-on training. You'll have access to our land, our resources, tools, equipment, and business development training, financial coaching, business planning, and also mental health training, because we know, like, with this industry, there's also high suicide rates for farmers because it's just such a stressful
Yeah.
job. So we'll have all of that in our program. So we really want to make sure that people understand there's so many different jobs within the food system. Of course, being a farmer is one, right? And but there's other jobs outside of the food system, within the food system, that people can actually take advantage of. So we have volunteer opportunities at our farm. So we have 4 farms. So we have our main farm is at Tech High School, downtown, connect to the Bonner Center. We have one at White River State Park, and then we have 2 other farm lots at Cottage Home area. So most of our time in the summertime is we're planting in our greenhouses and getting ready for spring. And then right now in the winter, we're just doing our farmers market that we have every year, which is downtown at the Circle City Industrial Complex. So if people want to come and shop local, people don't really know that you can actually buy food locally in the
Mhm.
wintertime from local farmers. And so that was actually why the winter's farmers market was created in the beginning, because we really wanted to connect the community with farmers in the wintertime. So it's not, people just think about farmers markets, it's always in the summer. And so that's for the reason why we birthed the farmers market over 12, 13 years ago, when we started the farmers market. So it's really grown, and it's and growing every year. And so we're really excited to see it continue to grow.
Well, I was today years old when I found about the farmers market during the winter. That's awesome because to your point, you see them spread out towards the end of the spring and throughout the summer and maybe the beginning of fall, and then the assumption is okay next spring. But during the winter, people need food. They would love to support local farmers. So that is awesome. I definitely would love more information on that and your amazing programs to really engage the community? And what are some of the misconceptions when it comes to African Americans and farming?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions, I think, is that our history with farming started with slavery. I think a lot of people think about farming, they think about, us being slaves, because that's a lot of the things that we're taught in school, and that's what we hear from probably our grandparents and so on. But if we think about before we came over here, and before the colonizers came and picked up our ancestors from Africa, they were farming over in Africa. Like there's a reason why they went over to Africa to bring us over here, so we can be able to build this system that we call the farming industry, right? And the food industry that was actually built on the backs of Black people, literally. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions with people not realizing the history goes way beyond slavery. When before our people got here, their mothers was braiding seeds into their hairs, because when they knew when they came over to this new land, they could at least be able to feed themselves. So, there's a long history of Black people being able to feed themselves and know about farming and being innovative and, being impactful in this industry way beyond before they became slaves. So I think that's a lot of misconceptions, but, there's a lot of harm that's been done and violence when it comes to the farming industry, discrimination with the USDA. So there's a lot of things that we need to talk about and educate people about, and then kind of change the course of how that's been happening over the last 400 years. So I think a lot of people just kind of associate, especially Black people, associate farming or growing your own food with, I'm not a slave, I don't want to do that, and not understanding that, like there's so much harm. And so we have to really kind of educate, like, no, these are practices that were done way before, our people were slaves, So I think
Yeah.
that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. And we are, creative people, and our ancestors' blood is literally in the land that they cultivated for us. So this is our land, and so and it's a healing land. And so we have to also get back to the land to be able to heal ourselves as well. And if you can't feed yourself, that's a problem. If you don't understand how to put seeds in the ground and grow your own food just on a basic level, like how can you truly take care of yourself? Because if another pandemic happens, and it's very possible, especially the way the meat industry is, right? The meat industry is they're talking about, the research coming out of the meat industry, that's going to be where the next pandemic comes from, is from the meat industry. And so we have to really understand like and how important it is to understand where our food system is, where how our food system actually works, and how that's also rooted in discrimination and racism too. And the reason why there's no grocery stores in your neighborhood, and no, the reason why there are only fast food restaurants and there's no access to food access, and we don't understand proper nutrition. So those are all by design. And so there's a lot of education that needs to happen. Um, but there's a lot of things that we have to come to realization that there's a lot of harm in that too as well. So that's why there's a lot of pushback between Black people who who do not want to farm or don't even want to garden because they just it's associated with so much history. But I think now with COVID and people are getting back in outdoors and being more active and putting their hands in the soil is becoming a stress reliever, and people are really educating themselves on how healthy it is to be able to grow your own food and just to be outdoors and be healthy and grow some flowers. You don't necessarily have to grow your own food if you don't want to, but you can grow flowers, you can have house plants, all of it, and a lot of people don't understand like Black people are the backbones of not only farming but sustainability. Like if you go to a Black
Yeah.
person's house, we have we have plastic bags on. We don't throw anything away. We have plastic bags. We're recycling. We were recycling before recycling was cool, and we always had house plants. I didn't realize growing up that my mother's house is surrounded by house plants. Any Black person would probably know they had an aloe plant in their house, and if you got a cut or a burn, your mom and your grandma would say, go break a piece off of that aloe plant, And so these are
Yeah.
things that we always knew growing up, but we didn't realize now they have been commercialized, and there's people who don't look like us who are making $1 million off of this industry that was really built by people of color.
Absolutely. The aloe plant was in the kitchen.
Yes,
That's where you got your hair done
exactly.
with the straightening comb.
Yes,
And if you happen to get a burn, you just
yes.
and you kept it going. So to your point, we have made a lot from a little. When you are thinking about launching a business, because you've launched many businesses, right?
Just a couple.
How do you build your team? Because we all can't do it alone.
No, and that's to be honest, that's something I've struggled with because I can be a little bit of a control freak. I was like, I'll just do it. I know exactly how I like it. I want it to look a certain way. I have my own vision. And so, but I do know that for you to, I can't have two, three businesses and do it all myself. So I'm going to have to lean on a team, and I'm going to have to trust people. But I think too, with building a team is finding people who complement your skill set, right? So if you're not really great at social media, then it's probably good for maybe you to find someone that's really good at social media, who enjoys social media, who enjoys learning about the changes that happens every day on social media, because every day there's like an update and something else is cool, right? It's like
Yeah.
Instagram now is another app, and this is and it's that, and there's so many things changing. So you need to just find someone that can help complement your skill set. So if you're good at writing, obviously you can handle that. If someone else is good at, doing sales, then find someone that's a good talker. So I think that finding someone that complements your skill set, but overall who kind of understands the vision of your company and what you're trying to build. Because if they don't get the vision and they don't see where you're going, then at some point you're going to have a clash and you're not going to be able to, build a strong team. But always you want to find people who do something better than you. So if you have to be honest with yourself and say, I'm actually not that good at that,
Yes.
and it's a good investment. Sometimes obviously small businesses, you might say like, I don't have any money, like how do I get a team? And so, internships are a great way to start, reaching out to local colleges. And there's a website called indianaintern.net where they're encouraging employers to have paid internships, but they also know that there's a need. Most employers may not be able to afford it. So they provide 50% of that back to you. So, you pay an intern $10 an hour, and they're going to give you 50% of that wage to support that intern financially. So it's a great way for you to bring in someone to help you grow your business. And it's also provides an opportunity for an intern to be able to gain experience while they're in college at a fairly inexpensive rate. So it's a win-win. And I've actually used a lot of interns from that website, not only just for my nonprofit, but for both of my businesses. I've found a lot of great interns that way. And there's a lot of great people who are in college who are eager to learn. And so I think this is a great way to be able to do that inexpensively. So it is, it's an investment, it is. And sometimes
Mhm.
you're like, who, but once you see like your time is more valuable than maybe a few, a couple $100s to pay someone, then you'll be able to realize like I can spend more time getting more sales or doing this or doing that. And then you have to really kind of wage like, well, how valuable is your time and how fast do you want to grow your business? And that will kind of help with the team. But always look at, like what this extra person can bring to the table. Like I do this well and this person's going to do this well, and then it kind of complement each other. So I always say that.
Awesome. So, what was your aha moment in launching the Botanical Bar during a pandemic?
Yeah, I know, right? I've had a lot of aha moments in the last 2 years, but with the Botanical Bar, I was talking to my best friend. My best friend is my business partner. She's the other co-founder, other half of the Botanical Bar. But I was talking to her and I was like, I really want to get some new house plants, and I'm looking and I don't see any like Black owned plant stores in Indianapolis. And I used to live in Philadelphia too, and she lives in Philly. We both met each other working in corporate America, and she was like, there's not any in Philly either. And we both grew up in a house with mothers who love plants and who still love plants. Like my mom has probably 20 plants, and she's like, bring me a plant over here. I'm like, you don't need any more plants, you're fine. But I was thinking to myself, that's interesting, there's no plant stores here. And there are plant stores, but they're not owned by women of color. And so I was like, well, maybe we should start one. And she was like, girl, no. And so I was like, no, hear me out. Hear me out. I was like, seriously, this would be so cool. And she's Latino and me being Black. I just think, there's so many synergies there with our culture, and it just kind of, we talked about it, and I was like, I want to do a pop-up on National Houseplant Day.
Nice.
And it just everything kind of like went down there. I say it went uphill from there. And to be honest, we launched it on National Houseplant Day at the farmers market, and we sold out of everything. People were super excited, and so that was like my aha moment. Was like, there's not any Black owned plant stores, and we know, like, especially with the civil unrest in the last year, that people are seeking out supporting Black owned businesses, but also knowing that this is a space that we created. And so like we need, and I wanted to create a space, the goal is at some point to have a physical store, but I want to create a space where people of color can come into a space and not feel uncomfortable, and can walk into a space and not be like, are they following me? Like, can I look at prices? Like, can I ask questions? Like, and not feel uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable in plant stores before, where I don't feel welcomed. They don't really speak to you. You're not sure if if you should be here. All of the feelings, right? When you're Black and shopping, right? So I
Yeah.
really wanted to create a space, because that's what house plants, and that's what the whole industry is for. It's a energy, and it's supposed to be about healthy energy. And so like I don't want to go into a space where I feel bad energy and I don't feel welcome. That's not the whole point of why you even bring a houseplant into your space, right? And so that was my moment. I was like, we're gonna do it. And I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we're gonna do it. And the Botanical Bar, we spell with a K, because Black people, we love to always mix it up a bit. And so and then it's just a place where plant people meet. And so that's kind of our tagline. And so we wanted to be a space where people can come and hang out. And at some point we're going to have other pop-up shops where we can have wine and things like that, and we can have a cool space for women to come in and kind of talk about their connection to nature in a really safe space where people who look like them, and I don't want them to feel intimidated and be like, well, this botanical name is, like, no, this is a cool space. We can talk regular here, like it doesn't have to be all stuffy and the botanical name is this, like the science behind it. No, this is plant does this. This is why it's good for you. This is the healing properties. This is like, let's just keep it really basic. And I think a lot of people are looking for something that's more relatable, and not, I think a lot of times things kind of go over some people's heads. And I see a lot of times, to be honest, a lot of other plant stores take pieces from our culture and just sell it back to us. And so, this is my culture, this is our culture, and I want to be able to be the one to curate that and provide a space for my own people to be able to really reconnect with nature in a safe space, with people who look like them.
One of my favorite things to do when I was younger was going to the plant store with my mom because it felt so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
The plants are like personal friends.
Right.
So so actually, going into that space, it's a personal moment. So you want to feel comfortable. You want to be able to let your hair down. You want to ask questions. So being
Mm-hmm.
able to do that was important to create that inviting space. Because once you have one plant, you go back again and again and again. My mom is the same way. She has at least 20 plants. There is one that's in front of the window as you go up the back steps that has been there since I was a kid. It looks like a tree. It has hit the ceiling and now it's turning back around, right? You're gonna have a whole living wall here with this one tree
Yes.
in the next couple of years. She has the green thumb. I've tried. I do not. But I'm going to keep trying because there's certain plants that you should have in your home that bring good energy, that help with oxygen, especially if there's someone in your home that has asthma. So, what house plants do you suggest if someone is just getting started with house plants or they want to learn more about the plants that they have in their homes?
Yeah. So behind me, I have some marble pothos. So if you're new to being a plant parent, as I say, those are really good plants. They're vining plants. They purify the air. They're also on NASA's top 10 list of the most purifying air plants. So they're really good for you to put in your home. In a lot of places, like if you have a new home or new construction, they always suggest putting a pothos in your space. So pothos, there's different types of them. So I have the marble one. And so any of them would be perfect. And they're like really easy to take care of. Minimum water. They need decent sunlight. Like if you don't have a ton of sun in your space, it will adapt to whatever space that you have. Snake plants, if you go to office buildings a lot, if you see like snake plants in office space, because it's really hard to kill a snake plant. Like literally, if you kill a snake plant, then we need to have a conversation because you could leave the snake plant alone forever and without water, it will still be fine. So I would say it is like you cannot kill that plant. ZZ plants are great. Those are really great plants and they're beautiful plants. But those will probably be in the polar palms are great, which is the one I have actually right here, which is a really great air purifying plant too. And it's really easy. It's really easy to take care of. Minimum water, decent, bright light, and then it will also adapt to any type of conditions in your house. So those will probably be my top. But if you go to our website, thebotanikalbar.com with the K, we actually have a blog and we have a list of plants that are good for first time plant parents. So
Nice. Yes, I'm gonna dive in.
yeah.
I'm gonna dive in. I'm really excited because I see your wall and I'm like, I want to try that.
Yeah.
I want to try a living wall. I just feel so relaxed just seeing what's behind you. So, yeah.
I actually did that myself, so they're really easy to do because I am not the most handiest person. So I can take care of plants, but I'm not like I can't drill holes in walls. Like that's not my skill set. But I actually did these myself, and they're really easy. And we're actually going to have those for sale on our website soon as too. So it's just a great way to just add some really cool elements to your home, and it's really inexpensive. Like these plants are probably about I think $15 or $20 depending on what size you get, and so these little containers are about 30. So you can do something really inexpensive, and as long as you take care of them, they'll live forever. Like literally, you could just take them off the wall if you move and take them
Mhm.
somewhere else with you. So
Yeah, my mom has plants that are older than me. And I'm like,
yes,
this plant is still here. Like it's still in your living room. She just repots them and she keeps it moving. I think that was just her way to your point of, being a single mom, working, work-life balance, getting through it all, raising a child, that was her outlet. And we had a garden, strawberries. I loved spring and summer because the strawberries would sprout out. And that was just her way of just her woosah moment. When she came home and went to the backyard, leave her alone.
my mom is the same way. She's like, I am in the yard. Leave me alone.
Yes. Yes. Leave me
So,
alone. All right. It's my time now.
yeah.
So, we have a feature here during the show where we ask, what do you need, sis? So, in business, as we connect with other women that are doing business in India and beyond, what do you need?
Partnerships. I love to collaborate. Reach out to us. We actually had a lot of women-owned businesses reach out to us recently about doing pop-up shops in their spaces. So if you have like a space that you have, maybe sell clothes in or whatever, we can come up and do a pop-up. If this is another type of business, we can partner. We've had, partnerships with interior designers. Partnering with them has been really great. So partnerships is key. I love working with small other businesses, and collaboration is like the easiest way for you to build your network, right? And I think that a lot of times people don't want to collaborate. We all want to just kind of do everything ourselves, and we don't want to like share a piece of the pie. And so I think it's really important for you to grow your business. It's like having like really strategic collaborations, and it's just a great way for you to work with other businesses and expand your own audience. So we've had a lot of great people reach out to us. So, but if people want to reach out to us, they can send me an email at info@thebotanikalbar.com. We are so open to doing collaborations. We have a couple planned we have a couple planned coming up in the next couple of months at some pop-ups in a couple women-owned business stores. So we're excited about that. And some other things planned, but we want to collaborate as much as possible because we know that being in front of people is going to be important in talking about plants and understanding about the whole plant journey. So collaboration is key for us, top of mind right now.
Yeah, that's what this platform is all about, connecting and collaborating with
Mm-hmm.
women in business. The stronger your tribe, the stronger your business, the stronger you are. And we can all lean on each other, literally. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
thank you for being a part today and connecting with some of our women. I think that um, 2021 is the year to win and to come together and to collab. We've had such a tough past 12 months that we are seeing that we are definitely in this together and we can work through it all together as well and thrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thrive together. That's the end goal, to everybody thrive. There's a bag for everybody.
Absolutely. There is exactly.
Yep. So Victoria, what's next for you with the Botanical Bar, with Growing Places Indie, with Be Well Indie? What's next?
So many things. The Botanical Bar, we have pop-ups, coming up. So people can follow us on social media at the Botanical Bar on Instagram and Facebook. So we're really excited about that. We have a couple new collaborations, and then we're just always adding new things to our website on a daily basis. The Be Well Indie, we're still making sure that we're telling the stories of the people and places who are impacting the wellness scene. So this summer, we're going to do a couple outdoor fitness events. So we're excited about that. We know that it's still a pandemic, and we want to be, make sure that we're being safe. But we know people want to get out of the house and they want to be able to move their bodies. And so we're going to be partnering with a couple local fitness studios to provide some really cool free outdoor fitness events. And for Growing Places, we have our farmers market. It ends in April. And then we will be starting our new programs, our Grow Getters program and our Planted Forward program that I encourage. If you're an individual, if you have a family, or if you're a community organization, you can sign up. It's free. And we're going to provide you with seeds, plant starts, small hand tools, a really cute tote bag, and you'll have free access to workshops to learn how to start your own home garden, or if it's a community garden. So we're really excited about all of the partnerships that we have coming up for Growing Places. And we're going to be doing some really cool events on the farm. So we know people are really interested in growing their own food. So we have a lot of volunteer opportunities coming up in the summer. So people can actually volunteer on the farm, so they can do everything from harvesting, helping us weed, to just getting your hands dirty on the farm is going to be really exciting for this year because people are looking to get outside. So we have some really cool things coming up for Growing Places too. So.
Excellent. Looking forward to all of that.
Yeah.
You are one busy woman. You will have a busy 2021, but more importantly, a successful 2021. So,
Thank you.
I'm here. If you need anything, shoot me an email, pick up the phone, let's chat, let's get it done, let's collab.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No problem, anytime. And check out more details on Sis Less Work. We have other interviews that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks here. So always check back.